people in what mathematics, even me, who mathematically challenged, know that you can't get big as half. Hello and welcome. This is What the Story Say, and I'm your host, Pauline Baird. I'm from the village of Buxton, Guyana, and I tell our stories. Our family histories, our whispered stories, our long lost and sometimes forgotten traditions. And like we say in my village, Buxton, come in, or what the story say. What the story say means, what's your story? Everybody has a story. Okay, now it's kind of hot in this Japan. It's beautiful outside. It's all green and everything. Let's see if I can show you. I don't know if I can. But it's beautiful green mountains. It's been rainy. I haven't seen the monkeys yet, but I am in full preparation for them when they arrive. Yes, in my garden, they're little menaces, but guess what? I'm intruding on their territory. So what we got for you today? Last time I talked about this game that mostly boys played called Batty License. And we talk about the upsides and downsides, more downsides than not. But we talk about the intricacies of what those games can portray about the society in which the kids are growing up and how adults respond, and otherwise, what are the knock-on effects of that. And I'm sure you gave a lot of comments. This is pre-recorded so that I'm able to take care of my situation here. I have a very, very busy 2 weeks coming up, so I'm prepared for us. Okay. We also did the story about cutting, and making friendships and how these friendships can also fall apart. And there's one terminology I forgot to mention with friendships. When you have a good friend and you're broken up and you join another camp against that person, they say you pick up fire rage. Fire rage. Fire rage, yes. And when you pick up fire rage, that means you championing the cause of your side or the person that is your friend. So if I have a good friend and it's my BFF, if somebody makes her an enemy, I gonna pick up fire rage. I gonna take fire rage and join against. So that's another word I was supposed to bring out. It's a Caribbean word. I don't know do they have it around the Caribbean? I know it's a Guyanese word. I don't know about the rest of the Caribbean if you get fire rage. So those who are Bajans and Trinidadians and Jamaicans, weigh in if you get a word fire rage. Africans, let me know. And Guyanese, if you can explain the meaning, all the merrier. All right. So the story we want to talk about today is one that is so laughable. A little shame and all. But we're talking about children's language here. Let me preface it this way. Once I heard a child say, Mommy, Mommy, I just saw 2 childs. The mother said, no, there's no childs, there's children. The kid went along, came back with this thing about childs. And so what that means is that this child has observed language and know that 1 or singular is child and 2 with an S, 2 little people with an S is childs. Nothing is wrong with the grammar. The grammar is right. The child has no exception. The child doesn't know anything about zero morpheme and all that kind of stuff that linguists know. No. Child observe life. So when you look at playground and playground language and behavior, we have to look at them like learning. So we have this. So why am I telling you all of this? There's this popular childhood game that we call biggest half. People in what mathematics, even me, who mathematically challenged, know that you can't get biggest half. How you get biggest half? But these children just go in for biggest half. You're going with the little finger, you're cutting, you're going for biggest half. So let's see how biggest half does play. Jog your memory. If you play biggest half, tell me how you play it. Basically, it means that if you go in for biggest half, you join this pact to be a part of this game, this is what's going to happen. Anything you have to eat, if the person with whom you join the pack decides to see you first or see you first, they can say biggest half. So let us say you have a big cookie in your hand. I have cookies somewhere here. You get a big cookie in your hand and you didn't see your friend creep up behind you. So here you are, eating your cookie in peace, and somebody come and say, biggest half, and catch you with the thing in the hand. Now got to break whatever it is you're eating and give the bigger portion to the person who just said biggest half. So you got to catch somebody with something. But the problem with biggest half has come when you really like to eat something by yourself. By yourself. It's the worst thing to go in with biggest half in your family. If you go in for biggest half with your family, crap up, smoke your pipe. Crap out, smoke your pipe. Because they're going to catch you quick. As soon as the mother cook the food, they iron up your plate. As soon as you go and hold the food, somebody can come to biggest half. Now, if two people got food, they can biggest half on each other. But the thing is to be sneaky, catch up with somebody and get the food. Why would people do that? Well, for a number of reasons. You see, when I was going to school, we never used to get lunch money a lot. And there's some people who would get big lunch money. So if you get in with somebody who gets big lunch money, you can call biggest half on them and get good pickings, right? It was a way of sharing. You see, in Guyanese society, hospitality is a big thing. You just grow up knowing to share. You grow up knowing that if your uncle got a Bagdam canoe and he went to Bagdam and he brought back mangoes, you share it. It's a sharing community. So maybe children are emulating that with a twist. You see, because greed has no bounds. And they say, what did I say? Greedy man does cry 2 times? Yeah. Because now you're crying for somebody else's thing. That means you want it. You have some amount of avarice or greed for somebody else's thing. But if it turn around upon you, it's trouble. Can you imagine you trying to get biggest half on a guy, and as soon as that guy get the biggest half, or a guy try to get biggest half from you, as soon as you get the biggest half, somebody come behind you and get the biggest half from them, and the chain effect. Hilarious. So a lot of that used to happen at school. So it ever happened to you? Huh? So here was this girl, right? She and her cousin, tight. They used to go at each other's house and everything. Well, the grandfather used to go to the Bagdam and bring back nice Bagdam cocoa rice. If you never had a Bagdam cocoa rice, you're missing out. Those old people used to go in the backlands and farm. And when they're at the farm, they would catch bush fish or freshwater fish. And they would clean it and they would get the ground provision and coconut and all of that. And they cook a nice food. Cocoa rice with boiled pepper or a good meta G with boiled pepper and bush fish steamed with callaloo. And they would come out the Bagdam and bring it to the house. So this girl grandfather was a Bagdam man. And she decided to go and visit the grandfather at Buxton Railway Line Top. So the 2 cousins went. But one of them was really closer to this old man. So, and she knew about the nice food he just cook. So this day when she went, he had 2 plates ready. And she looking at the food, but one of the cousins now, who close to the grandfather, say, listen, this is me grandfather. And you got to give me biggest half. You got to give me biggest half. So you all say, all right, biggest half. But she eyeing the plate because this plate is high, heaped high with rice. It's so high, you can say just over the mountain is a promised land. If you see the obstacles inside, so you can see from the doorway, big chunks of what look like meat down there. So my girl say, hey, biggest half. To take the plate, got to divide. One plate didn't have much inside and the other plate got big heap. But since it's the biggest half, she got to give the biggest half. She got to keep the biggest half and give the girl a little bit. Well, as God would have it, Mrs. Greedy takes your biggest half and set up herself a corner upon the floor. She go up on the floor with she enamel plate and she sit down and plat she foot and she ready for jorts down. Jorts mean to eat. When she dive in so for eat, she run up with the first obstacle and she pop it in her mouth. In the same breath she pop it in her mouth, she spit them out. Guess what? Grandfather gets some rosy downs in there. You know what's rosy downs? Overripe downs. He put in the cook-up rice. Half left box and people call it rosy downs cook-up. But the warden got out. This man put this fruit, we call it donks, and people just call it some kind of apple, I don't know. But I don't know another word for it, but donks is a fruit that grow wild in the village and so. And he loved to put a net under his dongs tree and catch these dongs, and he would wait until they're fully ripe before he can give away. And he had the bright idea to go and put the dongs in the cook-up rice, and that's what she went and became very hongish for. And y'all know this word hongish. Hongish to be very greedy, yes. Avaricious, yes. So that's how she ended up with the dongs cook up. She alone with a big portion. The other cousin said, hey, you take that. For your greediness, you get that. So I think she had some second thoughts about this biggest half. But that didn't stop a lot of children. It was fun. You know, if you go to Bodzo shop and you buy bullseye. Bullseye was a hard candy with some sugar on top. If you buy bullseye and you decide to dame biggest half, look how you're looking around before you take out the candy. You're looking all around to make sure nobody ain't seeing that your friend who you're dame biggest half with ain't seeing. But what you don't know is that your friend got another friend who watching you for catch you in the biggest half. So as soon as you take out the bullseye now and you're about to eat biggest half, now you gotta take your teeth and you got to crack the hard candy to give a kanchi bit. This is, you see this size here? This much is called a kanchi bit. You get a kanchi piece and the biggest piece you got to give to somebody else. But I don't know is what with Guyanese children. They know half and they think they get a biggest half. They ain't got no biggest half. But that's the name of the game and it was nice to play. So what y'all know about biggest half? Have you been in biggest half? What kind of calamities emerge from biggest half? If you were the person getting all the biggest half, how you manage? Yes, how you manage. In one family, I hear what they used to do. The mother didn't allow them to get biggest half, so they can't play it in the house. But when she dish out food, she dish out some for the older child and some for the younger child. The younger one going home early every day, and he would pick up the both plates and he weighed it like this. They call it hefting. Hefting the food to see which plate is heavier because he want to eat the heavier plate. Yes, he used to do it all the time until one day when he hefted like this, one plate fell down and on the ground and couldn't be eaten. But guess who didn't eat dinner? Mr. weighing the food in the hand. He got no dinner because he was a discontented boy. Yes. So that ends that story about the games we play or don't we play anymore. I'm going to gather more games for the end of July and then we'll see what August brings. So thank you very much for watching and for participating. What the story say can only be nice and sweet if we all participate. I don't claim to know all the stories, but I research them for you and I leave enough behind so that you can come and bring your story to the fore. So that's how What the Story Say works. Not just Pauline telling stories, it's all of us telling our stories so that we can enjoy looking back at our culture and we can have the kids look back at what we went through. Because you know, some of us big people, we get a lot of gumption telling them young people how they're not and they're not and they're not, and we did just as bad, even worse. Yeah, you know. So there goes, and y'all are good.